Hello, students. So, today let us start the topic of hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing, like confidence interval, has also got one of the widest applications in data science and statistics. And we have already seen a glimpse of hypothesis testing in our sessions on confidence interval. First of all, I would like to introduce what is the basic difference between confidence interval and hypothesis testing. See, while confidence interval estimates the range of parameter, like it estimates the range of mean of population or variance of population, whereas hypothesis testing purpose is to determine whether there is enough statistical evidence in favor of certain belief or parameter. Okay, so what do you mean by this? So while confidence interval, it estimates the range of parameter. Parameter can be anything like mean, variance, etc. Okay, but hypothesis testing, it determines whether there is enough statistical evidence in favor of certain parameter or certain belief. Okay, so let us understand this with the help of an example. Let's say if any researcher claim that students of college X is smarter than students of college Y. Or we can take another claim like, let's say a new drug X is more effective, more effective than already existing drug Y. Okay, so all this is all these examples are the hypothesis. So these all are the hypothesis as it is made by the claimant. Okay, so now what we do in the hypothesis testing, first we derive a quantifiable variable. Okay, so first step is to derive a quantifiable variable. Let's say for this example, what should be our quantifiable variable? Our quantifiable variable is marks of the student. Okay, is student marks. Okay, then what we will do? We will collect samples. Okay, so we can collect samples of, let's say, 20 or 30 students from both the college X as well as college Y. Okay, then we will perform some test. We will perform some test. Okay, so on the basis of the result of the performance of test, we will conclude that either we accept our hypothesis or we reject our hypothesis. Okay, so if we accept the alternate hypothesis, we will go into the meaning of the terms, that is null and alternate hypothesis, from the next slide. So if for the time being, let us assume that it is the alternate hypothesis. So if we accept the alternated hypothesis, then it means that the students of college X is smarter than students of college Y. And if we reject the alternate hypothesis, it means that we accept the null hypothesis. Okay, so let us start with the definitions first. Now, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is a premise or claim which we want to test. This we have seen. Okay, premise or claim can be anything. Okay, but generally a claim is in the form of cause and effect statement. As you can see here, cause and effect statement to present a relationship. Okay, so relationship between what? Relationship between the two variables, in which one variable, that is cost, is independent variable, and the another variable, that is effect, is dependent variable. Okay, so this definition seems complicated, but let us try to understand it with the help of an example. Now we can see here, first example, if I give exams at noon instead of evening, then student test score will improve. It should be if I take exam. Okay, so here you can see that this is a hypothesis. Okay, this is a hypothesis. It is also in the form of if and then. If and then. Okay, and what is the independent variable? Independent variable is this, time of exam. Okay, so independent variable is noon or evening, that is the time. And what would be the dependent variable? Dependent variable would be the test scores. Dependent variable, since test scores are dependent upon the time of the exam. Okay, so like that we can see the second example. This is a claim by the researcher that a new drug is better than old drug in terms of recovery time of patient. So here, what is the independent variable? Independent variable is drug, type of drug. Independent variable is type of drug, okay. And what is the dependent variable? So now you must be wondering, what is the basis behind this claim? Okay, this claim and this claim, what should be the basis behind this claim? I mean, how much confidence level should a person is having who is making such claim? Okay, that is how much confidence level, and also what data should a person collect and what parameters must he or she measure to make such a claim. Okay, in case of this, uh, the claimant must collect the sample student scores, while in case of the second example, the claimant must collect the sample recovery time of both new drug and old drug. Okay, so there comes the sample data. So all these questions will be answered in hypothesis testing, which we are going to see in the upcoming slides. So let's proceed further. Okay, so first let us see the structure of the steps which we are going to use in the hypothesis testing. Okay, so first of all, we would state the null and alternate hypothesis. Null and alternate hypothesis. Okay, what is the meaning of null hypothesis? Null hypothesis is always the accepted fact. Accepted fact means, let's say that in case of previous example, that the students mark in college X as well as in college Y, the mean marks are equal. Okay, that is the accepted fact. And what is the alternate hypothesis? Alternate hypothesis is always the researcher claim. Okay, so if any researcher claims that rainfall, let's say rainfall in month of April is greater than May, so this would be the alternate hypothesis. Okay, and null hypothesis would be the rainfall in both the months would be equal. Okay, so we can denote alternate hypothesis by HA and null hypothesis denoted by H naught. So H naught is rainfall in April is equal to rainfall is May, and HA is rainfall in April is greater than rainfall in May. Okay, so this is the example of null and alternate hypothesis. Okay. So now, after stating the hypothesis, we would select the appropriate hypothesis test. Okay. Like the confidence interval, here we have to select the appropriate test statistic to determine the hypothesis about a certain parameter. So, we can use the Z statistic, T statistic, or chi-square statistic. Okay. So, we will look each and every type of test statistic in detail, but for now, please remember that if we want to test hypothesis testing for mean, okay, then we are going to use Z statistic. Okay, if our population is normal and variance of population is known, it is known and population is normal. This we have also seen in the confidence interval. Okay, if we want to do the hypothesis testing for mean, then we are going to use T statistic if the population variance is not known, is unknown, and for variance we are going to use the chi-square statistic. Okay, so this for a time being you must remember. So here we have seen that we are going to use the appropriate test statistic based upon the parameter to be tested and based upon the population distribution. Okay, based upon the population distribution, based upon the parameter to be tested. Okay, so on the basis of the hypothesis testing, we will be able to arrive at a result. We can use either of these two methods for the hypothesis testing. We are going to get the same values through both the methods that we are going to see in the upcoming slides. Okay, so first let us start with this part, how we should state null and alternate hypothesis. So in this example, we will try to state the null hypothesis as well as alternate hypothesis. Okay, so the average IQ of a sample of 50 university students was found to be 105. That is, average X mean of 50 is found to be 105. This is our mean of sample. Carry out a statistical test to determine whether the average IQ of university students is greater than 100, assuming IQ is normally distributed. It is known from the previous studies that standard deviation of IQ among students is approximately 20. Okay, so here what is the null hypothesis? We can derive null hypothesis from this. Okay, that is average IQ of university students. Let us denote this by mu. Mu is the average IQ of university students. Since we have to find the average IQ of all the university students, then we can denote a mu p, that is average IQ of total population is equal to 100. Here it's written it's greater than 100. Okay, why it is written greater than 100? Because it is the alternate hypothesis. Okay, so here alternate hypothesis, that is mu p is greater than 100. Okay, so this is alternate hypothesis and this is null hypothesis. Now let us go to the second example. Blood glucose levels for obesity patients have a mean of 100 with a standard deviation of 15. A researcher thinks that, remember this line is important, a researcher thinks that a diet high in raw cornstarch will have a positive or negative effect on blood glucose level. A sample of 30 patients who have tried the raw cornstarch diet have a mean glucose level of 140. Test the hypothesis that the raw cornstarch had an effect. Okay, so first let us write the alternate hypothesis. What is the alternate hypothesis? That is the claim of researcher who thinks that diet high in raw cornstarch will have positive or negative effect on blood glucose level. And what is the mean of the blood glucose level? That is 100. So mu is not equal to 100. that is the alternate hypothesis, that is mu is greater than 100 or mu is less than 100. Either of the two cases can be possible. And here, what would be the null hypothesis? Null hypothesis is the accepted fact, that is blood glucose level for a obese patients, which is 100. Okay, so this should be 100. So now let us understand what is the meaning of one-tailed test and two-tailed test in hypothesis testing. We should use the one-tailed test when alternate hypothesis proposes significant increase or significant decrease in the value of parameter proposed by null hypothesis. Significant increase or significant decrease. So if either of the two cases happens, that is if there is an increase in the value of parameter or there is a decrease, okay, remember, or there is a decrease in the value of parameter, then we are going to use the one-tailed test. Okay, and what is two-tailed test? Two-tailed test means when alternate hypothesis proposes significant increase and significant decrease in the value of parameter. Okay, remember there is a difference between two terms. Here it is or and here it is and. So now we are going to see both these cases with the help of the previous examples. Okay, so let us revisit our examples again. Since the alternate hypothesis proposes an increase in the mean of population, okay, so we have seen that if the alternate hypothesis proposes an increase or decrease in the value of parameter proposed by null hypothesis, then we are going to use the one-tailed test if either of the two case happens. So here it is increasing, so we are going to use the one-tailed test. One-tailed test. For now, just remember that one-tailed test looks something like this. This is the sampling distribution of the mean of the sample mean. This is a sampling distribution of the sample mean. Okay, this is mu of population. Okay, is 100. This is 105. So we are going to use the right-tailed test. Right-tailed. Okay. Had the alternate hypothesis been mu p less than 100, in that case it would also be a case of one-tailed test, but we are going to use the left-tailed test. Okay, this is mu p. The data would be differ in that case. Let's say data is 95 or something, then it would be the left-tailed test. Left-tailed test. Okay, so let us see another example of the two-tailed test. Here, can you derive that what type of test is this among one-tailed and two-tailed test? See here, the alternate hypothesis proposes that there is an either positive or negative effect. Okay, so both of this effect can happen. Either this can be greater than 100 or this can be less than 100. Okay, so here we are going to use the two-tailed test. Okay, so it would be something like this. This would be our mu of population, that is 100. Okay, and on the basis of data we would derive this mu1, mu2. Okay, and then we are going to use the two-tailed test. So this is the two-tailed test. Okay, for now I am not explaining the p-value. P-value we are going to see in the next class. Okay friends, so in our next class we are going to see what is the meaning of p-value, how can we derive the test statistic, okay, and we are going to use both these in arriving at the hypothesis test. So till then, keep enjoying and keep watching YJ Data Science for interesting videos of data science. Thank you so much.